Good evening. This great event has been in constant motion here in Sheffield for the last 3 weeks, from the qualifying stages right through to the main stage here inside the Crucible Theatre. And it's produced one of the most unpredictable World Championships for years, with a final lineup that, well, no one picked. But one thing is for sure, the trophy is going to be in new hands tomorrow. But will it be those of the amazing Welsh qualifier Jack Jones or snooker's warrior Kyren Wilson? The Englishman has been merciless so far.
There's no better feeling in the world than walking out in the Crucible Theatre for the final of the World Snooker Championship. It is incredible.
What a final we're going to have here. Every player's ambition when they turn professional is to lift that trophy. So the first point in the final goes to Kyren.
Well, to come out in the first frame and knock in a magnificent clearance, we haven't seen that for a while.
What a way to start this final.
When he gets in there, he's scoring enough to win a frame, and you can't do any better than that.
Settled down at the moment, Jack.
Well, it's been a very, very comfortable final so far for Kyren Wilson. Another excellent century. Can Jack Jones get anything from this first session? Trails 6-0.
The hardest part about playing in a final of a World Championship is sitting in your seat when your opponent is winning frame after frame. You're trying to get your mind right, you're taking a few deep breaths. It's the loneliest place in the world when your opponent keeps winning frame after frame. Well, it was a session that Kyren dominated, but thankfully for Jack, he did get that one frame on the board. And the whole Crucible crowd got behind him. He needs to win the session this evening.
Well, safe to say, Steve, one of those chairs is going to feel like a comfy couch and the other one's going to feel like a bed of nails. And if Jack Jones is writing his own script today, that wasn't it.
No, I mean, he had a fantastic semi-final, beating Stuart Bingham. He must have felt on top of the world. He did all the interviews. Hopefully he had a good night's sleep. He'd have come out excited. But then all of a sudden, his opponent made a century break in the first frame and then dominated him for those first four frames. And all of a sudden, he was getting pummeled in his seat. The embarrassment level ramped up a bit, and then all of a sudden, it didn't feel like he had his own cue in his hand. And before long, the crowd started to get on his side to try and feel sorry for him. It's the worst feeling in the world as a snooker player. You want to run a million miles when the crowd starts to feel sorry for you.
And as for Kyren, well, he's nowhere near the finishing line, and like a marathon runner, he's got to keep on going.
Exactly. So every session of a long session match is effectively its own little match. So he's done brilliantly well to get a 7-1 lead, but he's got to keep that relentlessness going, because otherwise, if his opponent gets off the hook, the next thing that happens is he's the underdog, he's got nothing to lose, and he starts to play the game he can play, and before too long, the roles are reversed, and we know full well in long session matches, you can get frame after frame, blocks of frames won by players. So, nowhere near over yet, but it's an uphill struggle, and obviously I think Jack Jones would love to win this session, at the very least 5-4.
Well, it has happened before, of course, 1985.
Ooh, that went down like a lead balloon, didn't it? So, Wilson's been ruthless so far. 7 times champion of the world, Stephen Hendry, wasn't known for his generosity at the table either, or come to think of it, off it either. How professional a job has this been from Kyren Wilson so far?
Very, very impressive. Very professional. He looks sharp. We've said he's not had the best season come to the Crucible, so he's obviously fresh as a daisy. But yeah, high scoring, long game, solid, tough to play against.
Absolutely. Now, we know that this Crucible crowd erupted when Jack Jones got that frame on the board. They're rooting for him. I know that you formed a bit of affection for him because of his resilience here, but how much realistically does hope come into it from him?
Well, he's got to win tonight's session. There's 9 frames. He's got to win it, at least, to keep the match going. I'm not sure if he's that dynamic a scorer. He hasn't been in Championship so far. He's not scored heavily. I think to win bunches of frames at one visit or one time, he's got to score heavily. Has he got that in him? We'll find out tonight.
Well, so far, Kyren Wilson is cracking the code against this man, where so many of them, have failed to do so. It's not a done deal. Crucible finals have turned on their heads before. It is, of course, a best of 35 frames match. First to 18 is going to win the famous old trophy. Another 9 frames to play this evening. What might tonight have in store for us? MC Rob Walker, you are ready for action.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to our sport's ultimate match. The battle to be crowned Kazoo World Snooker Champion is in full swing, and both players are desperate to join an illustrious list of 22 men who've lifted this magnificent trophy here at the Crucible. It's the penultimate night of our season, and it's showtime once again in Sheffield. Introducing a player who has produced an absolutely incredible run to a maiden major final, guaranteeing him a top 16 berth at the start of next season. He's under pressure tonight, but he'll come out and give this absolutely everything. So come on, Sheffield, raise the roof for the silent assassin, Jack Jones. His opponent, he's made the perfect start to his second world final. 2 centuries, a 90 and 3.5 centuries, continuing his fabulous form over the last fortnight. We have never seen him play this well. He believes this is his time to shine on the biggest stage of all, and he'll relish this opportunity. Here comes the warrior, Kyren Wilson.
So here we go. Don't panic. Can Jones reverse the damage against Wilson? Let's find out with Snooker Hall of Famers Shaun Murphy and John Virgo. Good evening, fellas.
Good evening, Hazel. Good evening, everybody. Well, here we are, first session over. Great to be joined by the 2005 World Champion, Shaun Murphy. And Shaun, I think the first thing we've got to say is the World Championship final, and it's the first to 18. That's a long way away.
Thank you to ninth frame.
Good evening, John. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to